There are so many big things Tewa Women United is doing, and at the core is empowering women. What are women facing?
Women are faced with multiple issues in our community. Growing up, I saw women that were disempowered economically. I saw women that were disempowered through violence that was yielded against them, whether that was domestic violence, whether that was harassment in the streets, or whether that was sexual violence, child sexual abuse, for instance. I also saw women in my community where we're supposed to revere women, really being dominated over, disrespected, not held in the sacred way that I thought women should be held as the bearer of our children, as the bearer of future generations.
What is at stake for the community, given those challenges?
When women face these injustices or these oppressions, is a loss of our cultural vitality, is a loss of our ability to nurture and bring forth health and well-being.
How hard is it to talk about some of these issues?
In 2019, it's not so hard. In 1989, in the 50s and the 40s, I think it was really difficult for women. The women that started our organization started with that purpose in mind, because there wasn't a space that was carved in our communities for our voice as women and girls. And so they took it upon themselves to create this circle and this space. I think what they really had in mind was a deep healing. They were coming together to heal. They were coming together because of issues that they faced, such as domestic violence, such as sexual abuse, also surviving suicides of relatives and family members, witnessing violence, surviving, I don't know if you would call it surviving, but divorce after 35 years, where you've had your life devoted to a person, and then, trying to figure out who you are. So I think they were very thoughtful, heartful in wanting to create a space specifically for women to heal and talk about these issues that no one at that time was talking about. Mm-hmm.
May I ask how your own experience informs the work that you're doing?
So I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. I'm a survivor of witnessing violence. I'm a survivor of colonization and genocide. My peoples are deep survivors of strategies and tactics that were meant to erase them, eradicate them. And so I was raging, I was sad, I was suicidal. A lot of things that I feel our young people are currently going through. Even though I come from a really rich cultural base, I felt disconnected from my culture and my community. I saw women that I loved and looked up to being disempowered, not using their voice, not being able to say what was bothering them. And so at a point in my life, I felt like I didn't want to be a woman, I didn't want to be a girl. If I was born a boy, I would have had such a different trajectory. I heard from my father at different moments that if I was a boy, I would be governor. If I was a boy, I would be blah, blah, blah. And so for me, that was really challenging. And having that history of sexual abuse, it was because I was a girl, in my mind, right? In my mind, that's what it was, because I was a girl. I was born a girl. I didn't like my body. I didn't like my voice or my presence, all of that. I just wanted to shrink away and hide. I would hear people talk about the strength of our people, the strength of my people, and that is what got me through those darkest moments, running to the river and sitting by this cottonwood tree and just crying and letting it go and releasing, and thinking about, I guess, stubbornness and determination. Like I feel like I have a stubborn streak, so it's like stubbornness. Like if somebody told me I couldn't do something, then I wanted to prove that I could. And so I feel like for me, the power of the women in my life, even though I saw them struggling, there was also a deep love and connection to spirituality, to Mother Earth, and that really allowed me to believe that that change was possible, that transformation and healing are things that we can and are able to do for ourselves, for our families, and for our communities.
How do your experiences drive your work today?
I feel like they're the center of our work, really about how do we center Indigenous women and girls? How do we come from our womb as women? How do we come from our heart place to really, in spite of the darkness and the challenges, to be able to find the hope and the passion and the ability to see beyond the violence and the darkness and the anger and the shame and the guilt. I feel like that is the center of our work, is the ability to heal and transform.
What have you learned over the years for this empowerment to take hold?
Part of our process as Tewa Women United, and as we engage in circles with men and boys, with women and girls, with elders and youth, that we will uncover the answers together. And it's going to be multiple answers, because there is not just one journey to healing. There is not just one journey to solving the world's problems. It's a multiple truths out there. There's multiple realities, and it's going to be all of us collectively doing our deep healing work as individuals, then taking that beyond to our families, and then taking that beyond to our society, and then beyond to the world as a whole. Personally, I feel that we are in a place of repeating history right now around racial injustice, around violence against women and the earth. We're repeating history because we have not gone deeper as people to heal, to have those conversations that are challenging. We have a history that we need to reconcile with the taking of land, with the destruction of culture, but we also need to move forward together to be able to bring all of ourselves into this process of co-creating the world that we want to live in, and that we have the ability to do that. We all do it. We don't have to have it somebody else or somewhere else, that we can do that here. I want that to be the legacy of the work that we do as Tewa Women United. I want that piece of young people, those who that have been harmed, to be able to find that space to be like, it doesn't have to end in pain, it doesn't have to end in suffering alone, that we can bring joy, and we can have joy and healing and play in our lives